Hey, this is John, and today we're going to talk about the iPhone 16e. All right, so Apple recently came out their iPhone 16 line. So you have the 16, the 16 Pro, and now they were released in 2024. Now they released the 16e, and the 16e is maybe a slimmed down version of the 16 and the 16 Pro. It's at a lower price point. So if the iPhone 16 is a little expensive for you, $1,000, $1,200, and plus the options, we can make it even higher. The the 16e may be a good alternative to upgrade your phone. So recently, my wife's iPhone 12, which is here, she had an issue with the Lightning port where she could no longer charge it, and she's been going on for a while using a charger, a wireless charger, and there's some other things that she needs to hook the phone up to do. And so I said, well, why don't we just get a new phone? So after looking at everything, we thought the 16e was a pretty good deal. So let's take a look at it real quick. If you're not familiar with some of the differences, let me just fire up Firefox here. We'll we'll shrink it down a little bit so you can see everything. We'll go right to apple.com. There we go. So the 16 Pro, 16, and then the 16e. Latest phone, greatest price. I think that's the idea here. So the iPhone 16 is starting from $599. Now, if you have a plan with T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon or any of the big players, you might be able to get a deal on the iPhone 16. We got a pretty good deal from our carrier, and it took $500 off the price of the phone, so that's a good deal. So I'm a tech guy, so I was looking at some things, and I decided that it was a good purchase. Now, you have to look at your use case. I bought the 16 Pro when it was time for me to upgrade. However, I had different requirements than my wife. My wife primarily uses the phone as a phone, taking pictures, phone phone calls, texting, watching some videos, doing some social media, all the usual stuff. Not really into the advanced stuff. Doesn't do a ton with all kinds of crazy apps and things like that. She does a lot of things still on the desktop computer. So taking those requirements in, I looked at the 16e and I thought, hey, this is a pretty good phone for the price and what you're getting. Now, one thing, so let's go right to the buy. So you can go right on apple.com and look at it. Now, here's the thing is, it's definitely scaled down a little bit because you only have two color choices, white or black. Now, if you're going to put a case on it anyway, like this has a case on it, it doesn't really matter what color the phone is. So it's nice to get a color of your choice, but if you put a case on top of it, if it's not clear, it kind of negates the purpose for having a color anyway. So I thought that was kind of smart actually. Now, how much storage space do you need? The standard comes with 128 gigabytes, which is a lot. I mean, the old iPhone 12 had 64 gigabytes of storage, and you can get all the way up to 512 gigabytes of storage. So that's pretty good. Now, one thing to note on this phone is that it has just the one camera lens. I mean, they all have one camera, but it has one camera lens. So if you look at the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 has two lenses, and then my iPhone 16 Pro has three. So the iPhone 16e has one lens, and we'll look at that real quick. We'll do some comparisons. So it's available with all the carriers. Yeah, there's that one lens again. So what's in the box? You get the phone, you get a charging cable. That's about it. So let's compare some phones and see what we're doing here. I think we got to go to the buy area. Compare iPhone. Okay, so looking at the iPhone 16e, we'll put that on the left, and we'll put the old phone, the iPhone 12, which I thought was a good phone, on the right. And let's just check it out. You can see the size is the size is the same screen size wise. This one's actually a little thinner. You can see the iPhone 12 had more colors, same size, same type of display. This has a ring silent switch. Now the old silent switch now is an action button, so you can do a few more things with it. So the big thing about the iPhone 16e is it gets you into Apple Intelligence. So you can get an Apple iPhone 14, you can get a 13, you can get a 15. Unless you get the 15 Pro or later, you're not going to get the Apple Intelligence. And so the Apple Intelligence is it's a new feature. They're rolling out all their OSs to take advantage of that. So I thought, why not get the Apple Intelligence? You can turn it off as well, I do believe. And so it has it in there. And as these new operating systems roll out, you're in good shape. But if you look at the chip, the iPhone 16e uses the A18 chip, while the iPhone 12 had the A14. Same amount of cores. The 12 had the dual camera system. This has a 2-in-1 camera system with a 48 MP fusion. So it has a super high resolution, still has depth control, can still do 4K. Now the frame rate's higher, has photographic styles, it has visual intelligence, so that's nice. The optical zoom has 1 and 2 times, where the old 12 had a half and 1 time, so it's better zoom. Now here's one thing I do like about the iPhone 16e and the 16 line in general, that it has this emergency SOS via satellite. So if you're someplace and you don't have cell service and you're in an emergency situation, your phone will work. So that's very, very good thing. Now look at the hours. So the 16e has up to 26 hours of video playback versus up to 17 on the iPhone 12. Another key thing is this is USB-C. So I like having, so all the devices now are coming USB-C standard. So it's nice to get your phone on the USB-C. That was one thing I was looking for. I was looking forward to getting off the old lightning cables. Work fine, but just how many cables do you need around the house? I prefer to just have USB-C. Has the Face ID, has 5G, has the ceramic shield front, tougher than any smartphone glass. Now, one drawback, if you're into wireless charging, the iPhone 16e does support it, but it doesn't crank like even the iPhone 12 or the 16 or the 16 Pro. They have the MagSafe. This does not have MagSafe charging. Has wireless charging, but not MagSafe charging. All right, we talked about the gigabytes before. The storage, display, same type of display. The resolution's the same. Contrast ratio. So it's very much similar to the iPhone 12. Now I did notice when my wife was setting it up that the brightness was much brighter. This is a big difference, the 800 versus 625. The peak brightness is the same. Height-wise, they're the same size, and it's just a hair, just a touch deeper than the iPhone 12, and the weight is very close, just a few grams off. And you can have it underwater for up to 30 minutes, which is amazing. So this has the Apple Intelligence. So that's really the big thing. Gives you peace of mind that no one else can access your data. They're talking about their privacy protections. Well, we'll see about that. Has the A18 chip. We talked about the camera, the 2-in-1 camera. The video recording is very similar. has wind noise reduction, and it has an audio mix. So it does have a few extra features that the iPhone 12 does not have. Front camera is very similar. Has a photonic engine. Has HDR5 for photos versus HDR3 for the iPhone 12. Portrait lighting. Has Animoji and Memoji. Has a night mode. Has photographic styles. Has 4K. Has 1080p Dolby Vision. Has the slow-mo video support. Has the cinematic video stabilization. So it's very similar phone to the camera to the iPhone 12. Like I said, the peace of mind has the crash detection, emergency SOS, roadside assistance via satellite, all that fun stuff. Has the cellular, 5G, has Wi-Fi 6, has Bluetooth 5.3, has all this stuff. It doesn't have the ultra wideband chip, and it doesn't have a couple of these other things. But one thing I did hear about the iPhone 16e is that it has a really efficient modem in there, and that's why the battery life is so great with this thing. Let's see, it has the same video calling, so it's very similar as far as the phone, the camera, the video playback. Has the same video playback. Siri has the Apple Intelligence. All right, so here's where the battery really kills it. 26 hours of video playback, 21 hours of video playback streamed, audio playback 90 hours. It is fast charge capable, up to 50% charge in 30 minutes with 20-watt adapter. Sensors, has a high dynamic range gyro as opposed to the 3-axis, has a high G accelerometer, proximity sensor, has a dual ambient light sensor, barometer. Now, this has strictly eSIM, which makes it nice because everything's done electronically, and you can have two active, so it means you can have two lines, which I have on my iPhone 16 Pro. I do have 2 lines, and it works fine. You have a line 1 and you have a primary line and a secondary line, and you can store 8 or more eSIMs, which is kind of cool. So I guess if you wanted to switch SIMs and activate them, that's kind of neat. Supports advanced eSIM technology for more convenience and security. Not compatible with physical SIM cards. Okay. So another big difference here is the USB-C. Supports USB 2, and the old iPhone has the Lightning. So that's a quick look comparing the upgrade from iPhone 16e to iPhone 12. So it's still, I think when you get the new chip, it's so much faster, the better battery, the Apple Intelligence. It's kind of a significant upgrade if you look at it as far as performance goes. Now, if you're interested in maybe just a bit more, take a look at the iPhone 16. That has more color choices. Still the same size. That has a color infused glass back black. Has the action button. Has Apple Intelligence. Has the same chip. The only difference is the 16 has a 5-core GPU versus a 4-core. And it has, so really one of the bigger differences with the 16e versus the 16 or the 16 Pro is it has this side button. I have it set to bring up my camera. So that's the camera control. So it gives you faster access to photos and video tools. So if you're all about your camera, then you may want the 16. But you can also set that action button if you wanted to bring your camera up. So you're not without the option to do that. So the camera has double lenses on the 16, very close in specs, but the camera is better on the 16. There's more things you can do with the camera. It's an advanced dual camera system, while the other one's a 2-in-1. It does spatial photos and videos, which I guess the 16e does not do those. and the zoom has the 0.5 times zoom, whereas the 16 has 1 and 2. Now the other thing this thing has is the dynamic island. That's this little thing. Let's see here. It's this little thing up here. So if you have, I'll just open an app. And so I'm not even sure really how to work it, but I know like if I have something playing, like if I play some music, let's see, I put a YouTube video on. And then I get back to my home screen. No, it's not really working. I got to play something. All right, let me play some music. Hold on a sec. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Where's my music? I'll do something that's not artist. I'll play my own music. Far field. So basically, when the phone goes to sleep, it brings up this little spot here, and you can see, it's hard to see on the camera, but you can see it going. So I don't really use it that much, but it's there. It has that. Let me shut this off. It's like when the phone's doing its own thing, it's almost hard to create the dynamic island effect. But when you got something playing on your phone and you're doing something, you can see that little island up there, what's going on. You can tap it and open it up. So not a, for the $400 or $500 difference, I don't think that was a game changer for me. The phone still has all the same SOS. Let's take a look at the video playback. So the 16E has a higher battery life, has 26 hours of video playback. Has the Face ID, USB-C we talked about. Has the ceramic front. I guess the 16 has the latest generation, so okay. But the water resistance is the same. MagSafe, 16 has the MagSafe. Same kind of capacity you can get. I mean, but if you look at the pricing, it looks like the 16 now is $200 more than the 16E, and then it goes up from there. So it doesn't have dynamic. So it has dynamic island, and it is a little brighter. It is a little brighter. So if that's important for you too, it's got a little bit more nits for max brightness. Now it's a little higher. I guess the 16 is just a hair bigger. Same width, same depth. It's just a touch bigger, and it's heavier. It's 170 grams versus 167 grams. That's one thing I noticed. We got the Apple silicone case, which is really light, and the phone, just compare, like the iPhone 16, and I had this OtterBox case. It's just it's bigger. It's just I mean, you can see the 16 Pro is just a bigger phone, and it's heavier. Like you feel it in your pocket, and the 16E is light. It's really light. I like, especially with that Apple case. It's really light. Same chip. So once again, the difference is the cores. Camera. We talked about the camera. We couldn't even talk about all this stuff. Has the action mode. So very similar specs overall. The DCHSDPA, not sure what that is. Not really going to even worry about it. Well, we can look at it real quick. Hold on and see what that is. Let's see what that is. Now that we have all this AI, you can just pop it on there. Paste and go. Dual carrier, dual cell, high speed. Using two separate channels, each with a different carrier frequency to improve 4G cellular transmission speed. Okay. So this has a different modem. So I think that's maybe it doesn't use this, it uses something else. So, uh, so if that's important to you, you may have to look that up. Apple Pay, Apple Card, video calling. So it's still a phone. Yeah, we talked about, oh yeah, let's look at the 16E versus 16. So on video playback, it beats it by 4 hours. It beats it on video playback stream by 3 hours. And on audio playback, it beats it by 10 hours. I mean, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. And that's one thing I noticed about the Pro. Check out the Pro, though. The Pro beats it on video by just an hour, and it comes close on audio playback. So it's interesting. So if that stuff's important to you, but we can take a look at the Pro real quick. The Pro is very similar to, let's just look at the camera. Yeah, it's missing. So here's the big thing with the Pro. The Pro resolution video recording, 4K at 60 frames per second with external recording. That's pretty cool. That's a you know, if you're doing a lot of videos and you want 4K, Pro's a good way to go. So overall, I think the iPhone 16e is a good phone for daily use. So if you look at the Apple Intelligence and then the A18, so the 16 Pro has the A18 Pro chip. I guess it's a different chip. It's a Pro chip, and it has a 6-core GPU. We said the 16 was just very similar to the 16e, except it had a 5-core GPU, and it had the camera control on the side. I meant to put Pro on there. Yeah. And then the 16 Pro has the Pro camera system. Has a 48 MP ultra wide telephoto. So I don't have the phone with me. My wife has the phone, but it comes in your standard Apple box. They give you your USB-C, and that's about it. Now setting up the phone is, I'm sorry, I somehow got off 16E. There, looking at the camera. But setting up the phone is pretty easy. You literally, if you want to, literally you back up everything on your phone, on your existing phone. Say you have an iPhone 12, and you get them both on the same wireless network. Make sure both Bluetooth and all that stuff is on, Wi-Fi's on. Get them both on the same network. You put them together. You put them together, and the phone starts to vibrate. It says, "Hey, I noticed you have a phone here. Do you want your old phone to become your new phone? Do you want your new phone to become your old phone?" You say yes. Follow all the prompts, and go through it. One thing to make sure you do is make sure that you have the latest operating system installed on your old phone. So they have the same. So you want them to be on the same Wi-Fi network, and have the same OS installed, and it works. And if you mess it up the first time, it's okay. You can go back. You can go back in the new phone setting, and you can do a reset. Even if you transfer over even if you activate the eSIM from your old phone to the new phone, you can still go back and do a reset, keep the eSIM, and it'll do it again. So it took my wife, I think, 2 times to get it, all the apps. It transferred the eSIM, the iCloud stuff, but it didn't bring all our apps. And she kind of she was looking at me like, I don't have my apps. And we did it again, and it worked fine. So yeah, so you can look at the 16E. I think it's a great little. I'm not gonna say little phone. I think it's a powerful phone for a decent price.